A lot of founders say they want to have freedom, but still build a business architecture that requires their daily presence. Welcome to Freedom Entrepreneurship, where we are answering one question. How can we have both growth and freedom? Or if you're lacking freedom at the moment, how can you regain your freedom? My name is Stephan Poschik. Let's get started. In our former shows and in our former episodes, we talked a lot about AI already, a lot about business architecture, a lot about growth and scaling. So one of the most important things I want to talk about today is I want to deep dive into business architecture a little bit more. Why business architecture? Because probably you saw one of the former shows. It's like the foundation when you want to build a successful business. Because when the business architecture is not right, or when you have some major failures and structural failures in your business architecture, guess what? The end result is not going to be ideal. And the end result should be a successful business that not only generates the revenue or generates the success for you, but also generates the freedom and life you deserve or you want. Because let's be honest, we as an entrepreneur, we don't start a business to be stuck. We don't start a business to have a harder life. We don't start a business to hustle and grind for the rest of our life with very little reward. We start a business because we want to have more freedom. We start a business because we do not want to work for somebody else anymore. We start a business because we are probably lacking freedom in our former role. Or we, like I myself was, I never wanted to work for somebody else. So I founded my first business when I was still in school because I did not want to work for anybody else. Was that a good decision or a bad decision? Yes and no. It has advantages and it has disadvantages. I just had no idea what I did at the beginning and I needed to figure it out. And over the years, I also learned that the business architecture is extremely important. And guess what? I did not have a business architecture at all at the beginning. And that's very common for entrepreneurs. Especially most entrepreneurs, they start as a solopreneur, they don't even have a team. Then at some point, they somehow got enough revenue that they added their first couple of team members, and then they added more products and they grow, but not in a way that it is scalable, and especially not in a way that they can really step out and achieve their freedom. And the specific area I want to focus in the next couple of minutes is our products or our services. Yes, we need to have the people in place, we need to have the organization in place, we need to have leadership in place and all these things. But if you do not have the right products and services mapped out, you will always change time against money in your business. So let me give you a couple of examples. Especially when you think about service-based businesses. What is the typical service-based business doing, especially at the beginning? The owner and founder of the company is changing his time against money. So he's creating a coaching or a consulting service or a training program or a speaking gig on stage, whatever the product is, and then he's selling an hour of his time for X amount of money. And then probably he is selling a day of his time for X amount of money. Or he's probably selling a project that includes 10 days for X amount of money. Okay, if you start like that, perfect, great. Why? Because it's the fastest and easiest way to start as an entrepreneur and make more money or make money in the first place. Why? You don't need to do anything for the setup. You literally just think about, okay, good. Do I have enough information or experience that I can talk about a specific topic for an hour? Or I can coach somebody for an hour? Okay, awesome. Let's call somebody, sell my program or sell something and start. You don't need any material. You don't need to prepare anything. You don't even need a web presence. I mean, it's better, but actually you don't need one. So that's the reason why a lot of businesses start exactly this way. So here's the thing. That's amazing for the start. But when you don't go to a next level and when you do not change this, you will never get out of your business, because you will always be limited to the amount of time you can invest in your business. Plus, another thing is you are at a very, very high risk. A very high risk means when you are not working and you cannot change time against money, guess what's happening? You are not making any money at all, right? So you go on vacation? No, because you do not earn money. You are sick? Better not get sick because you are not making any money. You want to take care of your kids, or you need to take care of your grandma or your mother or your father that's old and need your time. Nope, because you are not exchanging time against money. So you see, you are very, very fast. You get to a point where you are just stuck. And therefore, you need to think, okay, what can you do to build a product or a service range that not everything is dependent on your time? Okay, first thing is, how can you grow? The first thing is, if you still have products where you are changing time against money, you can raise your prices. So raise your prices is something what you should do on a regular basis anyway. In a separate session, we are going to talk about the ideal pricing structure, and I'm going to talk about why you should raise your prices every 10th sale. So you sell something 10 times, then raise your price. But that's in another other episode where I deep dive into that. But okay, you can raise your price. Another reason why you should, or actually why you need to raise your price, is we have something that's called inflation. Every single year, everything is going to be more expensive. So if you do not raise your prices at least to the amount inflation is taking place, every single year you are making less money for the same amount of time you are investing. Completely crazy, right? Nobody would do that. But a lot of entrepreneurs are so focused on that, they just don't even think about it. And then they come up with, oh my God, I cannot raise the price, my customers, and they don't do it. No, you need to raise the price. So that's the first thing. But here comes the second thing. Next step is, from a business architecture perspective, you can hire people or you can outsource the delivery. Okay. Let's stay with a service-based business. Let's stay with a consulting business. One of my first businesses was in the consulting area. I did exchange time against money, and then I basically built a team around myself with other consultants, and then basically I used their time to exchange their time against money. Okay, now I don't need to be involved in that anymore. Great thing, but great responsibility and also great risk. Why? Because same again, when you hire these people, you suddenly need to become an expert in recruiting, in HR, in leadership, in compliance, in all the legal stuff when you have employees. Plus you have overhead costs, plus the people are going to be on vacation. Guess what? You still pay them. No time against money, you still pay them, and you see the issue, right? Okay. Or they are on sick leave, or same again, they need to take care of their kids or their family. So you cannot use their time to exchange it against money. Okay. Still, a lot of businesses are growing that way. Now, do you need to hire them? No, most likely not. Because you can also work together with them as contractors. As contractors, you have a huge amount of advantages, but also in some regions you need to be careful because the structure needs to be the right way. because you cannot exclusively, or a contractor cannot exclusively work just for one company in Austria, for example, because that would bring you into a not so good liability or legal situation as an employer or as a business owner. But okay, you can work with contractors. Same issue again. If they are out for whatever reason, you cannot use their time to exchange for money. Okay, still a valuable option. So we had option number one, you can increase your own prices. Option number two is you can start to build a team around you. Okay, here we are. Now we have at least two options. But now let's talk about other things. In this area, we also need to look at how is our product structured. What do I mean with how is our product structured? Is our product structured in a way that we are selling something one time, then we are executing it, and then we need a new sale, we need a new customer? Or is our product structured in a way that we sell something once and we have ongoing recurring revenue? Okay, so I give you an example again. You sell a consulting project. You sell it once and you charge 50K for it. It's a one-time project, and after that project, you need to find another project. Okay, that's one opportunity. But you see, every time when the project ends, you need to sell something new. And especially when you are a very small company, probably even when you are a solopreneur, it's even harder, because then you need to make sure that these projects are back to back, because otherwise you have a project, you earn money, then the project stops, and oh shit, now I need 3 months, 6 months, maybe 8 months to sell another project. You have a cash flow gap because you are not making any money in between anymore. Yeah. So how can we change that? We can still sell a project, but we can also sell an annual coaching contingency contract where we are selling a 3-year or a 5-year project, or basically not a 3-year or 5-year contract, where on an annual basis the customer is paying X amount of money for a VIP service. What do I mean with a VIP service? Guess what? When we execute a project, in most situations in the companies, at some point, they will have issues again. Not because the project didn't work, but because people are involved, because things are changing, because new challenges, new questions come up. Okay, so that's an opportunity. I give you another example. You can sell a speech on stage. Okay, you are a keynote speaker. Wonderful. That's amazing. You get money when you are on stage. What is when you leave the stage? No money anymore. Okay, what can you do? You can use the recording from the speech and then you convert it into a book or into a podcast or into a white paper. And then you take the speech and you build an online course with that, and you sell the online course. So what just happened? Now something very, very interesting happened, because suddenly you invested time once, but you can make money multiple times with that. Why? You spoke on stage, and afterwards you create an online course or a book, and now you can sell the book as often as you want. Do you need to invest any additional time from yourself to sell the book when you don't count marketing? No, because the content is already created. The value is already created. The same goes for an online course. When you create an online training, let's say you have a 45-minute presentation on stage, or you are doing a 90-minute keynote, or you're doing a 90-minute training around your specific area of expertise. When somebody is watching stuff online, most of the people don't watch 90 minutes straight anymore. So what can you do? You just take the 90 minutes and you split it up in 5 to 10 minute segments. And you build an online course, and in total, this online course consists of all the 90 minutes you already created. And now you have the huge opportunity that you take the online course and you sell the online course once, 10 times, 50 times, 500 times, 10,000 times. You see, the only difference now is the amount of money and revenue you can generate with that. Because you do not need to invest any more time to create the content, to deliver the value when your knowledge and when your content is sitting somewhere. Good. What else can we do? So here we have one more limitation, what I like to circumvent. So what is the limitation here? Because we can sell the course 10,000 times. Yes, but we can just sell the course to one person one time, right? Because if I buy a course, I do not buy the same course 10 times for myself. Or I do not buy the same piece of information every single month again, correct? Yeah, right. And that's the limitation I want to talk about. So how can we overcome that one? Now we talk about membership programs. And membership programs are something I personally really love in the service-based business. And every single service-based business could come up with membership programs or with something that's called community programs, which is at the end of the day, from a finance perspective, also a membership program. So what is a membership program? Here you provide a specific amount of services or a specific amount of content, and people pay on a monthly or an annual basis for that. Okay, so what is the difference to the online course, you probably are asking? So the online course is you create one piece and this piece is static, this piece is not changing. Now, let's say you add to this piece of content once a month a live online coaching session with a small group. And suddenly you can charge on a monthly basis and not just one time anymore. You see the difference? So the ideal scenario is literally that we have all these things in place at a certain time, depending on where you are in your entrepreneurial journey, depending on how big your business is already, and of course, depending on how big do you want to go, how much do you want to grow, how much do you want to scale. But talking about this membership and talking about these community programs a little bit more. So what is a community program? A community program is same again. You build an online community, so a gated community, not something like a free Facebook group or a free LinkedIn group or something like that. So a gated group where people are paying on a monthly basis that they can participate in whatever this group is doing. And now you can have an online community where people are just chatting with each other, where people can ask questions, probably where people have content available, where they can talk, where they can learn around this content. And you can also do live things. So the more live stuff you're adding, guess what? The more valuable this becomes. Let me give you an example how I did these different steps, and then you see how you probably can do this for yourself. Let's talk about the consulting stuff and the speaking stuff, because I use these examples on purpose because this is exactly what I did. So I personally was using keynote speaking as a marketing tool over a long period of time. And that got very successful. So I even became ranked amongst the top 100 keynote speakers at a very young age for nearly 10 years in a row. And very early on, I started to record all the keynotes. I had no idea back then what I'm doing with these recordings. I just wanted to record it because I knew probably in the future I can use it. And then at a certain point, I started to create an online course. And what did I do? I just went back to the recordings from my keynotes and I used the content and I put the content in an online course. And then I started to sell the online course. And suddenly I had an online product what did not need any time investment from my side for delivery. And I could sell it as often as I want. And the next step was, okay, good, that was a very good starting point. But then I also did one-on-one coaching with small business owners to help them grow and scale their company. Remember, coaching is just changing time against money. And the first thing is I started with additional coaches. I started with additional consultants around me, but still it is time against money. You remember the example I gave at the beginning of the show. What did I do next? I started with a membership program. A membership program, we call it our CHC Academy, our Freedom Entrepreneurship Academy, where we teach other entrepreneurs on how to grow and scale without losing their freedom, or on how to regain your freedom if you're lacking freedom at the moment. So we started this with a little bit of content, so with a couple of dozens of hours of content sitting in there. Why? Because I had so much content from the past already recorded, already created. It was just sitting around doing nothing, and then we used it and we put it into our academy. And I also added a live mentoring session once a month for 60 minutes. And then I suddenly had something where I had just 1 hour a month because of the live mentoring session. That was just something I love to do. And I still do, by the way. And we had something where we can charge on a monthly basis. And there is no difference for me if there are 5 people, 10 people, 100 people, or 10,000 people inside of this academy. I just need to invest this 1 hour of delivery for the coaching session, for the mentoring session. Yeah. Okay, so here are the examples. Now you know what you can do or what you should do. And what you can do in the next steps is really think about what products do you already have in place? What services do you already have in place? Do you have services changing time against money? Do you have people who can do that for you? Do you have online or virtual products, what you can sell over and over and over and over again? Or do you already have something where you have a membership program, where you have recurring, ongoing revenue? Because this, when you place it the right way, can even give you passive income as a service-based business at a certain point. But that's something I'm going to discuss in our next show. So for now, you find the link for our white paper in the notes here. So just download the white paper. And if you have any questions, just reach out to me. And in the meantime, I wish you a lot of success. And I hope you enjoy your freedom or you are regaining your freedom again. Thanks for now.